Hi YouTube, Watchify here with another video. Today I have the popular Citizen Promaster Diver with me. It's already a well-known watch, but I'll provide my perspective on it and describe how it took me a while to fully appreciate this watch's simplicity and value. The watch comes inside of a novelty scuba tank, which you can see here. I find it kind of cool that they did that, although I'm not sure how much more the packaging adds to the price you pay for the watch. So you might ask, what's the big deal with this watch? It's just another solar-powered 200-meter quartz diver, right? According to the Citizen website, this Eco-Drive Promaster model was introduced in 2017. I actually thought it had been around much longer than that, though. Citizen's most known for their inexpensive Eco-Drive watches, but they continue to make automatic movement watches that have their sister company Miyota's movements inside. Citizen first developed solar watch technology in the 1970s and then later in the 90s refined the technology and introduced Eco-Drive. To be honest, in terms of performance, Eco-Drive seems very similar to other modern solar movements to me, meaning that the battery can charge from any light, not just sunlight, and when fully charged, the watch can continue running in the dark for 6 months or more. However, it seems like Citizen was the innovator with solar technology, and that's why their Eco-Drive branding remains popular today. This watch couples the Eco-Drive movement with a simply designed tool-like case, which provides an ISO-rated 200 meters of water resistance. That means that this watch can be considered a true dive watch. The case dimensions are 44 millimeter case size, 49.4 millimeter lug-to-lug distance, thickness is 11.6 millimeters, and the lug width is 20 millimeters. That 44 millimeter case size sounds large, but somehow this watch manages to wear smaller on wrist than its case size would indicate. I think that has to do with the case thickness only being a little over 11 millimeters, and also how the lug width is only 20 millimeters. The case is entirely brushed with the exception of the outer edge of the screw-down case back and a screw-down crown. Speaking of the crown, it's well sized and signed with the ProMaster logo and surrounded by crown guards at the 4 o'clock position. The case back has the etched Eco-Drive globe logo and other information such as stating how the watch is anti-magnetic. I find it interesting how the case back also warns you to not open up the watch, but rather you should take it to a Citizen repair center. The bezel is a 60-click unidirectional bezel that has an aluminum insert with an embedded lume pip at 12. You get numerals at every 10-minute mark and dots in between. The upward angled bezel is a bit narrower than the case, and there are cutouts to aid in gripping the bezel. Since these cutouts don't run the entire circumference of the bezel, it isn't always the easiest to grip in turn, as it largely depends on whether your fingers are making contact with the cutouts. Rotation is smooth and has a satisfying sound. However, this bezel does have a quirk in it, and that is if you press down on it in certain areas, you can see some vertical play and a clicking sound can be heard. I've seen this on 2 separate ProMaster divers, so I don't think it's merely a defect with my watch. The dial has loomed indices that are tombstone shaped at 12, 3, 6, and 9 and rounded elsewhere. They're outlined in silver and very legible against the matte black dial surface. You'll see the rather small date window at 4 o'clock and how Citizen did a nice job at trying to integrate it into the dial design. There's a chapter ring along the edge that thankfully on my watch is well aligned. On the dial you'll find the printed Citizen logo along with the words Eco-Drive and Divers 200 meters. The loomed hands are large and distinctive, and I like how Citizen gave a splash of color by outlining the minute's hand in orange. Speaking of lume, the lume on this watch is nice and bright, and interestingly it features Citizen's blue lume on the dial and hands, but green lume when it comes to the embedded bezel lume pip. I kind of like how they did that. Covering the dial is what Citizen calls an anti-reflective mineral crystal that is flat and sits slightly below the bezel insert. I don't know if by anti-reflective that means it's just coated on the underside, and I'm also not sure if the AR coating is colored. I think I can detect a slight blue hue, but I can't be sure and I couldn't find any information on it. However, the end result is that the crystal is indeed very clear, so overall I'm pretty happy with it. The strap this watch comes on is a basic 20mm rubber dive style strap that has a dive table printed on it. I get that having the dive table is not to everyone's liking, but I feel that most people are going to end up replacing the strap with a NATO strap or some other type of strap anyway, and having it there sort of makes it stand out a bit from other normal rubber straps. I have mine on this Barton black silicone strap, and I think it goes really well with the watch and it gives it a clean look. Movement wise, this watch has Citizen's Eco-Drive quartz caliber E168 movement, which has a stated accuracy of plus or minus 15 seconds a month. I own several quartz movement watches and none of them lose time, they just gradually gain time, so I assume that's also the case for quartz movements in general. I've seen the price of this watch fluctuate on Amazon from a low of $140 to a high of $350. At the time of this video, it's selling for $221 on Amazon, and on eBay it can be found for $190. It also comes in a blue variant which looks equally as attractive. I can see that Citizen also recently came out with a version that has a green bezel insert and leaves out the orange minute hand. It's not as widely available as the blue and black dial versions yet though. I originally got this watch because I was looking for a Seiko SKX007 alternative, which I did eventually end up getting anyway. So because of that, and because this watch was a quartz movement watch, for a time I sort of became indifferent towards it and considered selling it. However, over time I began to appreciate it more and more for its specs and no-nonsense styling. It's not going to stand out or draw any attention, but at least you'll be aware that you're wearing a solid, low-maintenance dive watch from a reputable brand. I feel that if you could only own two affordable Citizen models, it would be this one and the Citizen Nighthawk. So I plan on keeping this watch in my collection long term and enjoy wearing it. I'd say if you are in need of a 200-meter quartz diver but want to step up from watches like the Casio Duro, this watch would be a fine choice. I think that'll be it for this video. If you found it interesting or helpful, as always, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.